So what this is about is bringing to light a very broken system.
Right.
That's what this is about, not about implicating any particular individuals, about who we're going to vote for. We have a system that's broken, and we have a system that's serving itself instead of the people. And through our experience, we're trying to demonstrate that that's true, that's happening. And when your legislators and your elected officials aren't listening to the people, and they're not, they become very self-serving.
Right.
It becomes a very vicious cycle. If these machines aren't taken out, we've lost our due process of voting, and we are not electing anyone else.
The people who've chosen.
They're effectively being selected.
I'll say real quick, the most frustrating I think for this team is finding out those individuals who act as if they are for voter integrity and stuff. They have this information and they're doing nothing with it. They are not addressing it, and it'll make you sick to realize what we have found and to see that these individuals who you thought were working for you really are not working for you. We're not going to throw names out there. All we're going to do is throw the fact that our government, through all of our evidence, is not working for the people.
I can tell you we have served the Secretary of State.
Right.
Yep.
We did talk about
We have brought this information
Attorney
in its
General.
entirety
Attorney General,
to the
yep.
Attorney General.
Governor.
We have brought it to the Governor.
Both the House
and the
and the
Chief
Senate.
Justice and the Justices know through our cases the law, because our cases have been based on statutory law, not on fraud.
They themselves have violated law. The Chief Justices have violated the law. They kicked us out on 4 of our writs for jurisdiction. By law, they're supposed to transfer it to the proper jurisdiction when it's an issue of jurisdiction. They've also violated their own rules. They've gone against their own rules in our cases. And it's amazing because when we're dealing, here's an amazing thing. We have a special writ. It's supposed to get heard. The defense is supposed to come back and rebut what we've said. We go back and rebut what they've said. They don't give us that opportunity, but with the GOP, some kind of party, they give them the opportunity. Recognized right off the bat, they didn't have jurisdiction anyways, but because it's a writ, we're gonna give you the due process.
So the rules for the not for me kind of thing goes all ways.
Yes.
Yeah, so we were filing just in pro se. We're not using lawyers.
Right. Yeah, so I did want to mention too, they're not using lawyers, they're not attorneys. It's all, as I said, they volunteer their time, they've learned the system on their own, and I'm sure have some help along the way with some other people who were involved. So the Board of Supervisors, so if I'm understanding all of this, and we do have an election coming up though, so I guess the people who are in now haven't done us any favors, so I guess we don't have to name names, they're currently in office. The Board of Supervisors, if I understand, is the best means to attack the problem head on at the citizen level. Is that correct?
So they are on the front lines in each county of the authority to say the machines are gone and we're going to do paper ballots and we're going to hand count them. They could say that tonight.
We just need one county to be brave.
And where are our counties? How many counties have you been able to speak to so far in this time of year and a half or so?
2 publicly, and I think 2 privately right now.
Three behind the scenes. We're in conversation with people at these.
Okay, without divulging anything specific that would, ruin anything. Where do our counties stand?
I'll say right now. Today I was engaged in a conversation with the Board of Supervisors in Yavapai County. They have a meeting tomorrow. They have no time for public speaking. The public is not allowed to speak at this meeting. They say the meetings are going too long. We did, very respectfully request some time, 12 minutes. That was denied. So this is the problem: is the lack of transparency, and for them to recognize this is the people's meeting.
And how do we combat that? Just from Yavapai perspective.
So
alone.
we will attempt on the next one. We'll be sending a message to the commissioner, to the chief, or I should say the chair, to request that we have time on the next meeting in about 2 weeks. But we're taking it county by county right now.
I want to add a little to that. This is another way how you combat it. I like President Trump. The man has hundreds of thousands of people show up at his rallies.
Right.
And we can sometimes barely get 10 people to show up at our school board meetings and our Board of Supervisors.
Right.
We need people to stop freaking going to, I call them concerts, honestly, and start getting involved in your nation, and saving your nation. Get to these Board of Supervisors. Imagine 50,000 people from the county going to their Board of Supervisors and saying enough. That will talk to them. Unfortunately, it's been us.
So you need people to be activated. You need people to show up where it's important. And there are some organizations in the Valley.
My problem with the organizations, though, is they tend to make it about the organization.
This is disagree.
This is about the people, or it's politicians or any in organizations. It's Republican against Democrat. I'm telling you right now, what we have learned for the people, it's not that. It's not Republicans against Democrats anymore. It's us against them.
And
that's what people are waking up to.
Could we ask some of the organizations? I mean, I don't mind going to some people and saying,
yes,
you know what, this is what we need to do, period. What can we do? What you want to do to help this situation truly be addressed immediately with what resources they have? And there's 3 off the top of my head I can think of they can pull 350 people into a room on a Wednesday night like that with one email and 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I see it happen all the time.
We have to be in touch.
So we the people AZ Alliance has helped us out. They've made themselves a PAC. The best thing about them though is they've made it all about the people. They're not trying to sell their PAC or anything like that. They're teaching people how to get involved. Right now they've got people all across the state looking into the voter registrations, and they're also teaching people to get involved with signature verifications. We want to do that, and in that, so I mean, even as I speak now, go to WeThePeopleAZAlliance.com. You can get involved. You can get in there as far as helping out with voter registrations in your county, or if you want to do signature verification. I found out because of this group. I found out the reason why Carrie Lake won is they found 20% of the ballots had signature issues, which were bad ballots. And that's the reason why she ended up winning. I mean, that's amazing to think about it. Someone who didn't campaign against her or nothing, all of a sudden, they're finding 20% of the ballots were bad because of signature verification. Also, what we're doing is, again, we're focusing on the due process here of this. So we're watching our government and what they're doing and what they're not allowing us to do by law, and what they are allowing us to do, because we're looking at the civil rights issue here. So these things we've been documenting. These are part of the things we're looking at. We're working on some other stuff too. If you're a veteran, if you're a prior law enforcement or current, and you can get involved on election day, please do. We need people to be able to learn what the rules are, laws are, and to be able to take notice. If they do not let you, hey, get with WeThePeopleAZAlliance.com and email them and let them know, because then we're going to do lawsuits. I think.
Okay, so
we're going to try a lot of things here.
We're going to put that link up. I do know We the People AZ Alliance actually, and they're involved in another thing that's happening in October as a participant, and so we do like to tell people about them as well. That's actually one of the organizations I was talking about. So there are some organizations around town that rally people that are not about them.
Yep.
So those are the ones we really want to talk to, right?
Yep.
So when you're watching this, I say it all the time. I say it every week. If you don't get involved, then everything that's happening now is going to continue to happen, and there'll be no you'll be kicking yourself, let me tell you what, for years to come, and our kids are going to be the recipients of the horrific results that are going to be snowballing worse than they are now. So just put that in your head and get online, use Google for your personal good instead of theirs, I always say, and look up some of these organizations. We're going to put links down later. So that's an action point. So thank you, because I think it's really important to show up, number one, and let these county supervisor boards know that everybody knows what's happening. It's not just 4 people.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say Jim O'Connor has been really helpful and well-respected man from the Arizona Corporation Commission, who I believe is a very fair person. And he has really led the initiative here at the county level, because that's where we're at now. We've exhausted, at least personally from our experience, we've exhausted the courts, we've exhausted the legislature, and we've worked very hard with trying to get the legislature to take action, and we've of course exhausted the executive branch. We're at the county level, and the county, those boards have the power to
so
use
grassroots
those
has to activate.
And really, by law, under the Arizona Elections Manual, they're required to have a contingency plan in place. And I just appeal to them now, if you don't have that, we're going to be requesting that through open records request, every county, to see what contingency plan exists, because they should be prepared to conduct the election on paper. If there was a catastrophic failure of electricity or the machines couldn't work.
As Florida just saw a couple days ago, they're going to be dealing with something like that.
And they should have the ballots available.
Right.
They should have the help, and already reached out to the community in case, to get volunteers to help run those elections.
So speaking of volunteers,
that's where it's at. We're down to the counties, and this is really we're in the 11th hour. We're in the 11th hour before the election.
And speaking of volunteers, so Doris made a good point. She asked about attorneys, if there's anyone who has willing to, or if you need to ask if you could still use help from anybody who is willing to. Is that something we could ask for if somebody hears this and they say, I'll do it?
All right, so what we have contacted multiple attorneys, multiple. Let me tell you something. They won't touch it. The Bar Association is put them in fear of doing anything because they'll lose their bar license. And I don't know why in the world these attorneys, and this is to any attorney watching this right now, you need to step up and go after these bar associations. This is your right to be able to represent us, the people. It's a First Amendment right. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how they try to fight it. And these bar associations are keeping them from being able to do their job. Right?
Okay.
There are some attorneys that they wouldn't mind doing this for us,
It's their
but
livelihood, it's their life.
yeah,
it's
but
their
see,
family's
but
lives.
now we're looking at self-preservation too,
Right.
and we can't have that anymore because they're about to lose their livelihood anyways.
But that doesn't prevent somebody, let's say a retired attorney, to come on pro se and work with you.
Well, I mean,
it?
that's the thing. I guess there's things that the attorneys have done with the bar association. Even they don't even want to touch it because they're afraid to represent us. But we do have an attorney, Russell Newman, who has attempted to help us out tremendously. But he's coming from outside of the state. There's requirements by the bar association who puts these requirements, which it's unbelievable because we asked our court to allow for him to represent us because even in the court rules they have the power to do so when it's involving furtherance of our justice.
And I think they've tried to make it so confusing that people are intimidated about it, but you can make your case. You know, a couple other places that you mentioned, one earlier that you can send these emails. It's AZSavesAmerica.us. So we'll put that one in, and we have a lot of information that can educate you about these problems at 2020isnullified.com. It's another place to get as a resource to get information about. We've got documents and information out there and videos that speak about this to educate yourself. So get educated and take action. That's what it really comes down to.
That's what I would say, educate yourself.
I can't stress enough how it is important that people watching this realize that this is not about partisan politics.
No.
It's not about Republican or Democrat, liberal, conservative, right or left at all. This is about our Constitution as a country and the laws. Where you don't have law, you have tyranny. And that's where we're headed if we don't fix this. So our efforts have been purely within those boundaries of the Constitution and the statutory law. That's where we've been focused.